This episode is sponsored by Kamikoto.
Designing my own home as the architect presented its own challenges, and there's that challenge as well, wanting to test dozens of ideas and falling into that trap of exploring and not actually making a decision. It was not comfortable living in the home before we renovated because it was very cold, and that was a big motivator for me to stop exploring and get designing and deciding. A couple of years ago, my husband and I were looking for a new home. We were after a bit more space and hoping to stay fairly close to where we were. We love this location and I could see a good project. It was in fairly poor condition, habitable. So there was work to be done and we accepted that. It's a very small site and a reasonably small house, especially by Australian standards. It was a 2-bedroom home with a sort of dark and dingy living space and a bit of a rabbit warren towards the back of the home. We were hoping to achieve a 3-bedroom house on this property with a bathroom and a second powder room if we could, and then vastly improve the access and interaction with the outdoors. It's interesting getting that balance between the expectations and desires of living in a house, but having to deal with some of the conditions that exist in different forms of housing. So we needed to build boundary to boundary here. We lose the opportunity to have windows on the sides of the home, so we need to implement skylights and big open windows where we can to compensate the fact that there's only one side of a room that can have a window on it. So in this home, the front facade is very close to the street, so once you open that front gate, you step immediately up onto the veranda. It's double fronted, which means there's an entry hall in the centre of the home and 2 bedrooms to the side. One of them is the main bedroom and the other is used as a study space or a work from home space for my business. The main bedroom is a really lovely space. It's quite generous in size, but it has a cosy aspect, I think, because it's got limited natural light. But because it was a room that was never going to be a light, bright space, we chose to go further with that and painted a very dark blue. And we've introduced new wardrobes, restored the fireplace that was there. When we purchased the home, the middle part of the house is the meals and living area. So this is a space we converted into a 3rd bedroom on one side of the reinstated hallway. And on the right-hand side, as you're entering the home, we converted the old living room into a number of functions. It's a full bathroom with bath, laundry in a cupboard, and a powder room and the home's linen jacket storage. After the middle section of the home, we've got the meals, kitchen and living with the opening to the backyard. It was tricky getting the 3 functions into this space here. So to achieve that, we overlapped meals, kitchen by having the meals table in the kitchen. A lush, gorgeous garden was what I was hoping to achieve. It's not immediately obvious, but has a number of pathways to the clothesline, the bins, the barbecue. There's space out there to park a car, and all of the services and utilities of the home have been concealed so they're not on view. The decisions made around the material choices in a home, for either a home for myself or for my clients, is very personal. For this home, I was really keen to explore the idea of not necessarily being too showy and keeping things really practical and functional. The terrazzo tiles and the timber floorboards in the living space, they're both really easy to clean and hard wearing, and that carried through to the rest of the home. We were hoping to retain the old floorboards of the old home, but we discovered they were not able to be reused. So we brought in salvaged recycled Baltic. The colour schemes are loosely inspired by the setting we're in. It's quite an industrial area, and whilst the blue tones are quite soft and calming, there's also a bit of a steel grey element to it, and we carried it off from there. When it comes to the furnishing, it was an opportunity to introduce colour. And then on the outside, again, exploring that idea of how can we use fairly basic residential materials like brick and weatherboard to make them interesting, because they are practical, functional, economical, easy to build with. Can we take those and create something of interest with the way we lay out and compose the elevations? Overriding sustainable concepts in this home are compact living. We sought to not build any more than what we thought we needed, and we have achieved that. So there's no excess room in this house. We've avoided that idea of building space for the sake of having space. We were really limited in what we could do in terms of orientation on this particular site, but I believe we've taken best advantage of it. Every centimetre of the roof is covered in a solar collecting device. We've got solar hot water and a solar PV panel system up there. This roof is working very hard to fuel our home. I believe we should be retaining our gorgeous old houses, but they were not designed appropriately for our climate and require things like extra insulation in the roof, in the walls, underfloor, all these things that weren't done when the home was originally built. I think this is a great example and great advocacy for keeping footprints of homes within your means. There's a lot to be said for other parts of the world in denser cities where, the vast majority of people live in apartments and smaller spaces. We can take some of that on board in our Australian homes and make the most of smaller spaces.
Kamikoto makes high-quality Japanese steel kitchen knives, using traditional techniques from Japan going back over 800 years. Each Kamikoto steel knife has been meticulously handcrafted, going through a thorough 19-step process that takes several years from start to completion. The steel is sourced from mills in Japan, and expert bladesmiths forge and shape the steel into hardy blades, polishing and sharpening them to an extremely fine edge. Kamikoto's product range features a vast array of Japanese steel knives, such as the 3-piece Kanpeki set that comes with the Nakiri vegetable knife, the slicing knife, and the utility knife. The steel knives are not only extremely practical with their single bevel, incredibly sharp edge, but there's also a real beauty to them with the satin finish. So I guess it makes sense that so many Michelin star chefs choose to use Kamikoto steel knives. Each steel knife comes in a beautiful heavy-duty ashwood box, which is not only great for storage, but it also makes Kamikoto a great gift for somebody. Kamikoto steel knives are also individually inspected and comes with a lifetime guarantee. Kamikoto has several special offers going on, including one just for Simple Dwelling viewers. You can get an extra $50 off any purchase by using the discount code SIMPLE50 at www.kamikoto.com/simple50, linked in the description.